Let's talk about some of the worst movies that I have ever seen. There are movies that are fine, movies that are below average, there are movies that are bad, movies that are horrible, and then there's all these down here. And let's start with some romance movies. Let's start with a tie actually, because I couldn't really make up my mind whether I wanted How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days on this list or if I wanted A Walk to Remember. I hate both of those movies very much. Let's talk about A Walk to Remember first. That movie is just the most bland and boring and just a bare minimum excuse for a romance movie. Really, that movie doesn't even have good romance. And that's the most important thing in a romance movie. There is no sexual chemistry whatsoever between the two main leads. If anything, they feel more like good friends. It feels like two people friend-zoned each other. This movie feels like it doesn't have a main plot. It's just 100 subplots that are all never fleshed out. There's a subplot in this movie where this guy tries to teach a kid with learning disabilities. Seems like a pretty sweet subplot, right? It's only had 2 scenes. And then there's another subplot that involves them making a school play. They're in the drama club. You know, that's pretty interesting, right? Maybe art could change the personality and the attitude this main character has. Maybe because of this school play, it's gonna have some inner transformation. It only had 2 scenes, and that's the whole movie. Every little subplot in this movie only had 2 scenes, and they're all just jumbled together to make a movie. And then the ending of this movie, even the ending of this movie is rushed. It's supposed to be this big, touching moment where you're supposed to feel emotional. I don't feel it. I don't feel it at all. The first half of this story is stolen straight from She's All That. Second half of this story is stolen from Love Story. If you want to watch a combination of She's All That and Love Story, then go and watch She's All That and Love Story. I know that this movie is supposed to be melodramatic because it's a Nicholas Sparks movie, but it isn't even that melodramatic in the first place. And it also isn't realistic either. It also isn't sincere. So it's stuck in somewhere between a very melodramatic movie and a very realistic movie, and it's stuck at a very boring part in between. And then there's How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, which is a movie that has the most toxic possible relationship ever that I have ever seen. And they have perfect chemistry. Oh, these characters, they just have the best chemistry. You know why? Because they are both massive jerks. They are the most unlikable, selfish, and just straight up bad, unpleasant characters that I've ever seen. Of course they belong to each other, right? If they don't belong to each other, who else could they belong to? Both of them are jerks. Of course they have to be with each other. Wow, such a perfect match. And even at the end of the movie, they do not go through any sense of transformation. There's no character development. They're still the same unlikable, selfish jerks that they were at the beginning of the movie. It's just now they realize that, oh, it's okay that I'm a selfish jerk because you're a selfish jerk too. It's okay, right? It's not okay. But I'm still happy that they found each other. Otherwise they would be a menace to society. They would endanger all of the other human beings around them. So I'm just happy that they're together. Okay, let's talk about a science fiction movie, right? Transformers. Oh, that movie isn't that bad, right? Why is it here? It is that bad. I hate that movie. So what's so bad about Transformers? One scene is enough to tell you what I feel about Transformers. Observe this scene where Shia LaBeouf has a white background. I've seen many bad movies before, many bad directors even, but never have I seen a movie where I had absolutely nothing in the background to look at. How hard is it for a director of a movie that involves explosive CGI and big visual effects, robots fighting each other, to actually put something, anything, in the background? What are you trying to do, Michael Bay? Are you trying to do some abstract art? Are you leaving it for the audience imagination? What is this, 2001: A Space Odyssey? Of course not. Michael Bay doesn't know that. It's about the same level of effort that I put into my exam test when I was back in school. The same amount of effort, and I'm telling you, it's very, very low. And that kind of effort should not be in a big blockbuster movie where it's expected for people to actually pay their hard-earned money to go watch this. Okay, robot fights, right? That was what this movie is about. Wrong. 80% of this movie is humans talking. There's no big robot fights. No, it's only 20% of the movie. The other 80% are annoying human stuff that nobody cares about, and everybody just fast forwards through those stuff. Nobody cares about any of those human stuff. They're just annoying, they're unnecessary, or they make the movie so long. Look, what's wrong with Michael Bay releasing this movie to the public? I just don't understand. I understand. Okay, I understand. If you're a guy, you know, you have sexual fantasies, keep it to yourself. You don't have to put it in a blockbuster movie where you expect little kids to watch. Little kids are gonna drag their mothers to watch this movie, and they're gonna see Megan Fox showing off her body. This whole movie actually just feels like some kind of male fantasy. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that Shia LaBeouf's loser character would end up with Megan Fox. That just doesn't make sense. It only makes sense because Megan Fox's character basically has no personality, so why even hire an actress to do it? Why not just have a paper cutout of Megan Fox just standing there like that for the whole movie? What's the point hiring an actress? What's the point of watching this movie? What's the point of life? Ah. Let's talk about horror movies, okay? Horror movies, how bad can they be, right? Well, you could say the same for every genre. There's always gonna be really bad garbage at every genre. And for horror, it's Annabelle Comes Home. Wow, what a modern movie. Never expected a movie that was so modern to be so bad. How? Did they learn absolutely nothing from the filmmakers that made horror movies for the last, I don't know, 60 years? First of all, the Annabelle doll just isn't scary. Please. In this movie at least, the Annabelle doll isn't scary at all. It's just a toy. I have lots of toys in my house. Doesn't make it scary. I'm gonna put this here. Does it scare you? Are you scared? Are you running out of your seats right now because there's a toy in my hand? No, it's not scary. Thanks, man. It's not scary, right? It's not. And also, this movie is just boring as hell. It's just a bunch of jump scares. String of endless jump scares that mean nothing and are not scary. This whole movie is just an advertisement. That's what it is. It's a low budget advertisement. Every single thing in this movie is supposed to inspire a spin-off, supposed to lead to a sequel of some kind, spin-off, sequel, prequel, I don't know, reboot, remake, whatever. Why watch an advertisement that you have to pay to watch? You can watch advertisements for free. Advertisements are everywhere on YouTube. But this advertisement goes on for 90 minutes and there's no skip button in the corner. The only good thing watching this movie is I watched it with my friends, and my friends were pretty cool, so I just looked at their reactions for the most part, because their reactions were more entertaining than the movie that I was supposed to watch. Hell, even the numbers underneath my cinema seats, even those little numbers, reading them was more entertaining than actually watching the movie. Okay, now let's come to the cream of the crop, right? The worst of the worst, the movies that I absolutely, positively hate. And both of those movies are made by the same company. Now, if you told me maybe 10 years ago, or maybe just 5 years ago, that this company would make two of the movies that I hate the most, I would tell you,
I'm not listening to you, you're crazy.
Because I love this company. This is a company that have brought joy to millions, and this is a very successful company who have spent about the last 40 years or so building up their whole company and their reputation. It's Disney. Disney has made two movies that I absolutely dislike. Worst of them is Frozen 2. This movie is an unnecessary sequel to a movie that does not even need a sequel. The whole movie was made to sell toys. Toys! The whole movie was made just to sell toys. Thank you. And the thing is, the movie doesn't even try to hide the fact that it's trying to sell toys. At least have some kind of character or plot or something at least to hide the fact that you're selling us toys. But no, when I see this movie, all I see are disgusting, sweaty men wearing their suits in an office and talking about how they can exploit little children. Little children are easy to trick. They are gullible and they can drag their parents to buy anything they want. But just because it's easy to trick little children doesn't mean you should. Studio Ghibli is a company that has proven that you could make intelligent and thoughtful movies that are aimed at a younger audience. Disney, however, no, they don't care about that. They just care about money. That's all they care about. They just care about how much money they can make. Why else would Elsa have about 100 costume changes in this movie? She doesn't need 100 costume changes. None of the characters need 100 costume changes. They're just meant to sell different types of toys. And the kids in this movie, they don't care. They don't care about what's happening on screen. They just want to see Olaf. That's all they care about. That's how bad this movie is. And it's made for children, mind you. And children don't even care. Who else is gonna care? Of course, the only people who are gonna care are the people wearing suits. Corporate people who are just waiting to get their money from the little kids buying their toys. That's all they care about. Okay, we've reached the point where I have to talk about The Lion King, which is the movie I hate the most. Now, I might seem calm at this point. I'm not so angry anymore. And the reason is because I've reached a certain level of anger that simply could not be expressed through physical means. That's why I don't seem angry right now. Actually, I'm really angry inside. You just don't see it. It has reached a whole new level. At least all the bad movies I've seen, like even movies where the director has so little effort that they don't even want to put something in the background. Even movies like that, at least I could call it a movie, right? But with The Lion King, I don't know, I don't think it's a movie. I refuse to call it a movie. Even if you give me $1 million and just want me to call The Lion King a movie, I will not. I refuse. It's not a movie. It's a fraud. It's a scam. And again, Disney is just trying to figure out new ways to exploit little children. Because they can. And if Walt Disney is alive right now, he would probably be really angry and he probably would not allow something like that to happen. I'm pretty confident about that. But if I was Walt Disney, I'd probably burn everyone with a flamethrower. Just Walt Disney spent so much time. And not just Walt Disney, he's just a businessman. What about all the animators? What about all the storyboard artists? What about the writers? What about all those people who worked at Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White? Even the people at Pixar, everybody who has worked so hard to build a good name for this company. And then somebody makes an idea to make a movie like The Lion King, which is not even a movie. Why do I say it's not a movie? Because it's the same movie from 1994. It's the same movie. They just resold it. They just took the same movie and they sold it again for money. They sold it at full price. They expect people to pay to watch this movie. And I paid to watch this movie. So it worked. And they're gonna make more, which is evidenced by Mulan. See, they made more. There are movies out there that are bad. But movies at least have some sort of personality. They have some charm. They have some imagination, creativity. They have soul. This movie has no soul. This movie doesn't even need a director. What is Jon Favreau doing in this movie? Since every single shot in this movie is just stolen from another movie, why do they even need a director? What's the point? What's the contribution of the director? So I'm not gonna give any criticism to the movie because it's not worth it. It doesn't deserve my criticism. It's not even a movie. The thing is, I only review movies. I do not review scams. Scams are not worth reviewing. All scams are bad. There's no way around that. So those are my so those are some of my least favorite movies. I apologize if I get a little bit crazy talking about that,